Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Lund, and I am Theresa's partner, and I'm also the owner of Hawaiian Sanctuary Retreat Center here on the Big Island of Hawaii. And Theresa asked me to introduce her for her class on the Queen's Code, and I'm very proud to do that. And just to share a little story about some of the things that I've learned from Theresa is that love has more to do with respect than an emotion of love. And after talking with her so many different times about it, I realized that the more we can respect our partner, the more we can deeply love them. I truly believe if we don't respect our partners, if we don't respect somebody, we can't really accept the love that they give us because we don't respect them. So why would we respect their love? So everything that I do now, I try to lead more to respecting my partner and then also doing things so that she respects me. She can respect me the most. And it's really changed my whole life. And I feel also that that respect and my relationships with all my friends, all my family, my son, my mom, everybody, even the people here at the retreat center, have improved because of the lessons that I've learned from Theresa. So tonight, I think you're in for a treat to spend time with my lovely Theresa Joan and learning the Queen's Code. So here she is, Theresa Joan. I love you, baby.
Yeah, this is kind of me sharing what I've learned in with relationship coaching throughout my years. I was married 20 years and I got on again, off again relationship with a musician. And this is everything I've learned when I was deciding to leave my marriage and trying not to. I was in Costa Rica and found this book twice in one day in the same house. So I knew, okay, okay, God, universe, synchronicities, whatever. So I started reading and I read about 3/4 of it before the former came to Costa Rica to try to save the marriage again. But I learned a lot what I was doing wrong, but I also learned that we were incompatible. And so having these tools now, 5 years later, and bringing it into my current relationship I feel like it's my greatest work, this relationship, and to allow myself to receive what I have in, in this type of relationship, which just feels so divine. So, and then learning the hero's language and everything that I have with my life experience, I'll just never be the same. So I feel like this is the wisdom of a mom of 4 and a grandma of 3, and just wanting to share those things with finally get them out. This makes me feel like there's a lot more people listening. But I want to teach you first, like, so this is kind of my journey a little bit that of I call my frequency match questions. It's kind of the steps that I took to, um, for, to manifest Steve Lund in my life. Like, you get to be in a relationship with Steve Lund, and own a retreat center and launch this personality that keeps coming out of me, the Queen of Hawaiian Sanctuary, and just stand in my knowing of who I am even more. Your relationship, I believe your relationship should magnify who you are and not, and take, yeah, magnify who you are instead of thinking it's holding you back from something. I feel like this relationship definitely pushing me forward. We push each other to be greater than what we are. And I mean, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that kind of partnership? So it's definitely finding all my edges. So I would love for you to introduce yourself in any way, and I can record you or not. It depends if what you're up for. It can just do even just your voice. Just what you're looking for in your name, what you're looking for in a relationship, and maybe if you knew me well, what you'd find out that I am. Question. Yeah. Yeah, writing.
Hi, my name's Kira. Um, what do you want to know about me?
Whatever you want to tell us about.
Um, I'm single, and yeah, I have been on the journey to find my love for a while now. I do a lot of shamanic energy healing for myself personally and for others. That's one of the gifts that I offer. And yeah, so I, yeah, and I'm excited to learn the Queen's Code. So when I open my heart to the right person, that I will allow myself to be treated like a queen and be able to treat my king like a king. So that's what I'd like to learn, you know? And yeah, I recently did a massive shift around opening my heart to a person, to my partner, my life partner, around being seen. And so I guess what I would say is if you knew me well, you'd find out that I am, um, that sometimes I'm scared of being seen. And so um, that is something that, especially with partners, I do whatever I can to push people away. So that is shifting and I'm stepping into a whole new me. So that's a little bit about me. Thank you.
I'm so excited for you to find me in the part of your journey you are in. Because yeah, this is perfect. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of the frequency manifestation questions that got me here. There's some of them because it was kind of my path, and as I was breaking up from the on again, off again boyfriend, and then going, okay, what's next? And Hawaii called, and I couldn't say no to the path that led me here, and I just said, okay, Hawaii, I'll give you 3 months. I'll give you 3 months to tell me why I'm in Hawaii because I was going to Costa Rica for the winter. I ended up here when someone handed me the key to their house and a friend was coming out here and just, all the synchronicities that I couldn't say no to be here. And so I was looking for philanthropy and a service and something real. And I don't think there's anything more real than Steve and the foundation of this relationship that we've created together. So when you're walking through, for me, when you're walking through the steps of like getting grounded in yourself, my first step was, how does it feel to be in complete, to be, how does it feel to be in divine partnership with yourself? So don't try to answer it. Just close your eyes and feel the emotion and energy of that question. How does it feel to be in divine relationship with yourself? And then, yeah, good. Ooh, it's scary. A lot of power. You feel the power in that question? Mm. Yeah, said she's scared of her own power. 'Cause a lot of us are, and I love what you shared about being seen. Because if Steve Linder were to comment on that, and what I learned from him is that that's all women want to be seen. They just want to be seen, and so to allow a man to see you and is pretty powerful. It's powerful. Yes. You ready for the next one? Okay, the next question that I walked says I got balanced in myself and tried to, then I realized, okay, how does it feel to be in divine partnership, completely supported by the divine masculine? How does it feel to be completely supported by the divine masculine? Yeah, again, you're not looking for any words. You're looking for like the emotion and the frequency of that question. Surrender. I like that. There's there's something powerful about taking the step to like receiving from the divine masculine and just practice receiving from all the men. So I feel like that might be where you're at right now, is just being comfortable receiving, like from friends, and not maybe even people you're dating, but just getting used to being receptive to the divine masculine. Any men that offer you something, they're not, all they really want is you to be receptive, and choosing to be receptive because it's you're practicing being fully supported by the divine masculine. And maybe you're good at, how does it feel to be fully supported by the divine feminine? Maybe you have friends and stuff that's comfortable. But the men is where, so if it was men I was asking this question to, I would get them used to being receptive to being nurtured by the divine feminine, so that there's that balance. If I'm completely supported by the divine feminine, the divine masculine, because that's a season, like you practice, and and then after maybe they have the best friend, they're in the good best friend zone of the trust and respect, then maybe you'll think about a romance. Maybe you'll let them, you know, step into that. But until then, I was in that phase for quite a long time, especially getting to know Steve Lund and making sure, like, because when I set up a relationship or a friendship with anyone, I don't want it to end. Like, I don't want to invest time into someone I really care about unless I know it's going to last, that friendship, you know? Well, I mean, it doesn't have to end. So I never really have put forth any real energy into a relationship, man, woman, especially when I respect him so much. And so to get time with him and invest, when I met him, I knew two things. I would change his life and I would be the best friend he ever had, because I knew what he needed as King Steve, and he knew what he needed, and he knew what I needed. So it was really cool to see how we just knew we needed each other in ways maybe we didn't understand. So then after we got, that was really established, I could be in receptive mode for him, and um, I really tested him. I really did. He would ask me to dinner, and I would be hanging out with other guys that were my friends, and he'd ask me to dinner, and I'd say, well, I'm hanging out with so-and-so, but we can come. So he would take me to dinner with another dude. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't care who you are, who whoever Steve Lund is. I'm just hanging out on this island for 3 months and having fun. So he did. He went through all my tests, and a real man, real king will want to be tested by by their goddess, by their queen, because it grows them. So, and it's fun that some of the stuff that we've studied are similar. He studied he studied a book, David Data. It was Ways of a Superior Man, and I had also studied that work. So to have a similar narrative and some things was really powerful. Just like about how the woman's mind works and versus how a man's mind works, and appreciating the differences. He went, and I had studied that work. I even took notes because I was like practically trying to figure out some things that weren't working in a past relationship. So that was really an amazing process. So then when I got to that really solid friendship with Steve, where I really respected him and I really could trust him, then I finally said, okay, Steve Lund, my heart is open to you. Because before that, I didn't really let him put any flirty energy. I would kind of block him, but we can be friends, bro. We can hang out and chill, and really, what is life but hanging out in a truck together, sitting on the porch swing, or the best friend thing is the best part about being in a relationship, and keeping each other's energy in that best friendship of service to each other, just wanting to hang out with your buddy. So so after we got there, the next one was, how does it feel to be in divine partnership? So we're going to frequency match that question. How does it feel to be in divine partnership? Spectacular. I like that answer. Spectacular. Yeah. After I met his parents and kissed him for the first time, they happened to be on the island, and I'm like, okay, who's this dude? I thought, okay, I want to see where he comes from. Like, I want to see, I just met him in the middle of the island, and I'm on this crazy adventure, Hawaiian adventure with myself and following the magic and the synchronicities. And I'm like, okay, I want to meet his parents. So I finally kissed him for the first time. And when I met them, they just felt like home to me. I found out really beautiful things about his family that just felt like his dad felt like my grandpa. They're kind of in that he's kind of in that golden generation age, and it just felt like getting my grandpa back. He passed about a year ago, and yeah, it just had that feeling to it. And his mom is also a Sagittarius like I am, and so is his son's girlfriend. So it was like there's this Sagittarius women. It was a really beautiful first meeting of his parents, and just feeling, could I fit in this family? Because family is really important to me. And then after we got there, and we're like, okay, divine partner, there you are. There you are. Now what? Now what? I've looked for you for my whole life, and this kind of vibration, this kind of understanding, this kind of like everything is just fits, and I can't deny that it just fits. And you really want to be like stepdad, and you really want to get to know my family, and like all the things, because I deserve that. I have so many relationship responsibilities, and so does he with this place, and so for us to just be able to look at each other and just know we were the right person for the other person because of who we knew we were, it was really a powerful moment. And so then I moved to the question, how does it feel to thrive in divine partnership? How does it feel to thrive in a divine partnership? And I can say this is what it looks like to me. Having trusting a partner that comes in and introduces me and loves the work that I'm and wisdom that I have to share with the world, and gives me I guess a platform that makes it really easy to be me. Queen of Hawaiian Sanctuary. and just do what I've always believed in, but practicing it with someone who mirrors it back. And so this work, it pulls the best out of men. Like we're staying in our feminine of receptivity and receiving so that they can give us everything they want to and provide and protect and do the things that feed a man's soul. But if we just keep blocking them because we don't think we are enough, or we can't receive it, or it's too much, or we're not used to that, then they can't give us anything. They literally are like, well, you said no, and they're standing there twiddling their thumbs, and they have to leave. But but finding finding that really they just want our happiness. That's it. They really want two things: us to be happy and us to be charming and enchanting. And once I figured that out, I was like, oh, well, then if I just work on myself, if I just stay happy, then they have everything they want. Because then I am full, and I have so much to nurture them with, and support whatever they're doing, and just focus on my happiness. Like it was surprisingly so much easier than I ever thought it would be to call out of them what they want, what they need to be King Steve, the kings that we want them to be. In one of the first chapters of the Queen's Code, it talks about frog farming. Because they're princes and they're raising to be kings, or they're kings, and then we emasculate the fuck or the heck out of them, and then there's no receptivity. We're just, you know, we're just emasculating them. And so the first lesson in the second chapter is about learning about the ways we maybe emasculate that we don't even realize. And that can be as small as rolling our eyes, the tone in our voice. They say men are visual, but it's not visual in the way we think. Visual in the way that they can read everything about us by our voice, by our body language, by the way we're turned, whether we're receptive to them or not. Yeah, so we think of visual like pornography and stuff, but that's not really, I'm, yeah, it's how they can read us and where we are energetically with them. And that's amazing because you can't hide from men. You really can't. And knowing their natural gifts is like the best thing to keep studying. So I don't know if you want to share anything about what you're hearing me say or what stood out to you. Okay. 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 And I'm going to move to, yeah, I guess the one thing was thinking about was going through maybe what thoughts maybe you've had. It's because the first kind of this week, I want you to kind of notice when you're around men what your thoughts are about men. Because some of the thoughts that maybe go through women's heads is like lazy, clueless, slobs, intense, insensitive, unconscious, selfish, self-centered babies, leaving the garage door open. It tells there's a story in the book about she was confused about she'd always like thought, why does he always leave the garage door open? Like I just feel so unsafe. Why does he leave it open? And then when she finally talked to him about it, um, he was expressing, actually, I opened the door because I'm excited for you to get home. I opened it right before you get home. And she didn't know. And she was judging him for her feeling unsafe that it was not closed. But he opened it to welcome her home. And so that was a big one. That was a big one that always assume that everything a man does is for a good reason, which is a huge one. And it's helped a lot because you catch yourself projecting onto them these things. And so as you go through your week, kind of see in what ways you maybe notice yourself thinking emasculating thoughts that are putting them down or judging them, or you see it around you from other women. What's good about doing this as a group of women and sharing it with your friends is as your thoughts change, you'll notice it more and you won't be able to hang out with your friends anymore, which is going to be difficult because as I studied this work, I started being more and more picky about the women I hang out with because I realized sometimes it gets on me. Like I remember going a couple times where just like Steve was there and I was in a group of women and they kept like talking down to him or or treating him a certain way because he was a man and men just are kind of used to it and it's sad, but it's in society and I mean even sitcoms you see it how they always often make the man look like he's a dumb dad or a dumb, lazy, whatever, and she talks down to him. Have you noticed that before? And then she watched. It's probably not you. What? Oh, good job. It's not in your field that much. Good job. And I don't watch sitcoms anymore, but even if I think about like Homer Simpson, like they emasculate him the whole show. Um, what about Raymond? Like they're always making him like look stupid, like he's stupid. But he's just a different character. He just has different skills than it. He's not a hairy woman. so, so another big one is, um, so we have like this little voice in our head, that's like always like telling us to be better or holding us to a higher standard. And so we kind of have this version of our perfect person. And we try to hand it to people, or we'll hand it to our men. And that's what the frog farming is too. Like we'll like be on this like magical wonderland of the romance or whatever, and then it will all of a sudden he'll do something. They always do something. And then it will switch and we'll like judge them for something. Or we'll like, why did they do that? If it was me, I wouldn't do that, because we're handing them the script to our version of the perfect person. A lot of expectation instead of going back to into ourselves and saying, even though I don't understand why he did something, he did it for a good reason. I just don't know what that is. So taking the time to have someone teach you what it is, if it's like, it's changed my life having Steve, and I should do this more about asking him like, why do you do it that way? Or why do you understand it that way? Because that's not how I would do it. And yeah, I think I need to slow down more and ask him more, because it started pretty early for me, because I didn't let myself fall in love with Steve at first. I let myself respect and trust him and build our friendship. But later, there was those little things that crept in, and then I had to readjust where I was at. Yay! I know. Is there any ways in your past relationship that you've felt this way? Like the judgments, where you're like, why do I do that? Or you feel like you would step back when you judge him and step back and go, there's a reason. He didn't do enough. So you were judging him for not doing enough. Yeah. 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 We're talking about how hi, welcome. We're, we're yay. We're talking about the ways that we judge men in our heads, like the things that like we like project onto them that maybe we judge them for. So this week it's kind of the lesson is kind of just notice like the ways we hand a man the script of, you need to do it like this because this is my version of the perfect person. And then when they don't do it that way, we're like, no, they're da 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 da. It's like this. But then we're talking about how it's they always do something. They always do things for a good reason. We just don't know what that is. So it's always assuming that they did it for a good reason, because they had a good reason. We just didn't know what it was. So taking the time to like, okay, and compassion and go, I'm going to ask him about that later if I really want to know why he did it that way. Why am I judging him for doing it that way? Because that's wrong. So, what? Really? Cool. She's- Oh, good. Oh, good. Good. Have her come. She's, if you can't hear, she said that she has friends that are working on building a goddess temple, and they were just talking about that, how they entered the judging the man's behavior, being triggered by his behavior. Yeah. Yes. And relax. I like that. Relax and inquire. Because yeah, sometimes we don't know. But it's so yeah, just like notice this week, just kind of notice like what you're judging or what even around yourself, like watching women maybe like roll their eyes or what's emasculated or where you're judged like, oh, they're just being lazy or oh my gosh, but here's another one. Men do nothing on purpose. Like they do nothing well. So they like have a better way of like conserving their energy. And so like I love it. Like Steve will nap and he'll like when he's tired he naps or when he'll go do something that rejuvenates his energy and they're better at it than we are. What do they say? They do nothing well. And they do nothing they do well. And it's on purpose. And I'm like, oh, I love that because then you don't look at them and go, oh, they're just being lazy. They're actually doing something. They're doing nothing. Yes, it is an art. But on the other hand, like if you keep in that angle, then you could like that really well. He does. He's doing nothing well. um, that's like what like the beingness. That's funny. I never thought about it that way. It's comparing it with our friend. They're doing nothing well. It's impressive. There was a time I was being really lazy and I was trying not to judge myself because of what I knew about men. I'm like, I'm just going to do nothing until I feel inspired. Like, I'm just going to do nothing really well until I feel inspired. Where you do the emotions. I'm going to feel this emotion as hard as I can so that I feel it and then I can do something else. So that's awesome. Would you want to introduce yourself in the camera up here? I do. And answer this question. If you knew me well, you'd find out that I am. I'm going to put this on you. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Aloha. So this is Anya. So you're going to introduce yourself and then you're going to answer that question. It's so funny, the word that's coming to in my consciousness. I'm not thinking about it, but it's like, it's coming. So if you knew me well, you would find out that I am harmless. I like it. Yeah. That's what comes through. It's so funny though, even saying that, then I'm all like, but I can. I know, I'm like, I'm feeling Pele. She's like, wait. I am harmless. I think the overarching is harmless, but then like it can appear that I am what destructive or transformative or even some people could perceive causing harm and be confused. Yeah, just be confused. But but yeah, I feel the truth is that just like with Pele, it's like ultimately her harm is like only more creation, is only blessing. But yeah, but it's just misunderstood sometimes. Sure. May I ask you another question? Yeah. Why are you here? Why are you in the class? Huh. Because of Pele. Probably because of Pele. Probably because of the divine mother, the divine feminine that is rising from within and creating through us. And yeah, it's like the force of it that carries me wherever I am. and particularly to moments in space-time like this here, now on this island. Yeah. I love that he lives here. I want to thank you. Oh, it's been such a gift to the community. Oh. Same. Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know how I would live here. In the I was speaking about you on the drive here, and when it come through, it was like I don't know how I would live here and feel as safe and comfortable and like at ease and in trust without you here holding the like, divine feminine container and holding like the queen archetype for this community, for this. Yeah. And I was speaking about it in you, I mean, earlier on the way here, just how I'm not worried about being here and I feel super safe and held because you're such a emanation of divine mama. And yeah, I feel very much held in unconditional love and support and like, yeah, you got this. That means I'm doing my statement correctly. Yeah, she really, yeah, on point. I like to share this because this is my and Steve's couple's motto. I always wanted a couple's motto, and so his was to courageously evolve, and mine was I am Theresa, royal courageous daughter of love. And then there was a book called Real Love that said that marriage is only a commitment to practice unconditional love. So it turned into we are courageously evolving royal couple committed to practicing unconditional love. So, this one says royal community. We live in community. I love it. Yeah. So, yeah, feeling it and just so grateful to be here and a part of the blooming of the rose and just the birthing of like new earth consciousness through this community. That's what I'm really in awe because it's like we really are like the breaking through the cement of the old paradigm to be able to bloom in a healthy way. But it's like such profound works to do relationally with people and with the land and like to come into right relation with all relations and the land. Yeah. Yeah. It was not for the faint of heart, but for the courageous. For the courageous. For the courageous. Truly. It's definitely definitely an evolving experience. I feel like the only way to really evolve is to be in a relationship. Oh, with a partner? Or anyone. Or yeah. A partner, like it brings parts of you out of you that are so deep. Yeah. I remember. Thank you so much for fun. I know it's like it's funny to get used to this mic. Yeah. I remember a couple of weeks ago that the deeper I trust him with my emotions, the more intense I test him with them. And one of the time, like it was only a few weeks ago, we've been together close to 2 years, and so there's those moments that come out where I'm just like my past trust, edges are happening, and I found myself yelling at him one day, like just like screaming, and I never had that come out of me yet. And then later, as I'm looking at my emotions and talking to him about it, as he's like not reacting because he's a king, and he's realizing that because in him, he realizes that the more he can just hold space and not react, the quicker that I'll just come back into relaxation and trust him. Brilliant man. No, I don't know. And he studied the ways of a superior man book, and so having him quickly put up that like safety belt, safety with me, it just like helps me relax. It can just react. But if you know that that's like, there, and it's like I later talking about it, like I realized, like I felt really humbled and grateful that he can hold that space for me. Like I'm blown away. And for me to analyze and go, honey, thank you so much, because I realize I'm trusting you deeper than I have before, because I'm trusting you with my craziest emotions, my craziest tantrums, and I'm just, hopefully that didn't hurt you long term if it did, because I just I feel so blessed that I trust you with my craziest emotions. And like it like almost like broke through some of my fears with him, that I couldn't express myself a certain way. And, you know, when you respect your best friend and your partner, you want to speak to them nicely, and you want them to, you know, so but it was amazing edge to get to that level of like, I trust you with all of myself, all of my crazy meltdowns, you know, when you're tired and then you say stupid stuff that doesn't make any sense, or you don't want it to impact your friendship, your foundation. So so quickly, just quickly forgiving. Yeah, yeah. I know that it was a really humbling experience. I'm still humbled by it. We're talking about it, and I think the most thing I'm really impressed with myself too is the emotional intelligence, like being able to like have him poke at me about certain things where I would like get triggered, and then be able to turn to him and say, you know, that that one stung a little bit for some reason, and and I'm still working on that one. And I think I said something like, I'm really working on my loving myself for some reason that triggered me, and so could you support me, and could support me in that while I'm still moving through that one. And he was like, good job, babe, and he gave me 5. I was like, yeah. So like it's like unreal sometimes the ways that I'm able to interact with him and the way I'm speaking to him, because I'm never blame. You're staying out of the blame game. It's a waste of time. You're choosing to be a mature queen who knows herself, and building that trust and respect in your relationship even deeper, over and over and over again, even when you mess up. And some of the things I'm still blown away by, of taking full accountability for your own experience. My experience is not his experience. He's he's getting to mirror looking at me, and I'm getting to mirror looking at him. But that doesn't mean we think the same about a lot of things, or what drives us. And so learning the Queen's Code, and you know, it it helps me know what drives them, because what drives them is the, provider, protector. Can I be around this woman? Will she let me take care of her? And if I'm telling him no because I'm not receptive, then what is, they have to leave. They can't, you know. mm, asking him to provide something does. Yeah. Yeah. To do versus provide. Let me think about that. Well, somehow. Okay, so you're skipping ahead. I did say provide. Yeah, there. So when you go into the hero, there's a thing called a hero's language. But when we get to that place, it's after you swear off, like you take an oath to commit to not castrate men anymore. Because when you do the things like when you watch your thoughts and stuff, and realize, oh my gosh, and you're like, look what I did to all the men in my past. Like, what is, and not like beat yourself up, but just to be that aware that you've had those experiences in your relationships, so you see them around you and you're going, no, not anymore. These men are amazing, and they just have this drive to provide. And so I'm trying to answer that question. What's the difference between asking them to yeah, that's kind of the hero's language, learning the words of the hero's language. But that's all I guess I'll say right now is that they are driven by providing, and anything they do for you, somehow that word is really helps them, like speaks to their core. Provide, provide. But until you like swear off like castrating and really learn what that is and why men are so amazing and what, then you don't really want to like, yeah, you want to have that commitment and take it seriously. Not like, yeah, and commit to holding our group and the women that you're learning this with to that standard of we don't bash men anymore. We just see their greatness and we see behind what they're maybe doing or what their actions are and look to what they're really saying. There's also a smaller book called Making Sense of Men. It's a 70-pager that um, Allison Armstrong put together from a seminar she did, and that's amazing. It's being passed around the community here, but that one's a good one. And you can buy the books on her website. So, but that one's a fun one. Kristen has that one right now. Then Michelle read it and she's like, I will never be the same. It's like it's changed my brain forever. So yeah, I'm trying to think of. She shares some of the. I don't know if I can answer that right now. Do versus provide. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm trying to think. I'll have to write that question down and answer it. These are some of the notes that are in the book about things that maybe we'll notice moving over. Things that she noticed when she was noticing her thoughts about like how she emasculates men and the things that she would see men do that she might have judged them for. So like moving over in traffic without signaling, uncommunicative, selfish, and stupid, or racing other drivers, immature, stupid. That's how we're judging them as our version of the person. Oh, they're so immature. Pushing by at a lunch counter as if no one was there. Clueless, bully, blind, rude. We're judging them, and then let's see. We do have aware that they need to grow, where they have room for growth. Yeah. 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 Okay, I can speak to that. I don't know what chapter it's in, but it's getting to the space where we know how to communicate with men because men are like one focus minded, right? We might can like blah 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 about like 10 different things. They're very much like I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about this. So we have to get them to be ready to think about what we're talking about. So it's about asking permission. Like, are you ready for feedback? Is this a good time to talk about bills? Is this a good time to give you feedback about something I really thought about? So it's like asking for the space to be heard first so that their brain has time to go, oh, okay, I'm ready. Like I'm in that space. Yeah, and drop their defenses. So, yeah, it's huge. And because sometimes we just like walk into the room and say, blah, 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 and they're like full on in doing nothing mode, reset, doing their nap mode, or they're watching TV and their mind's completely somewhere else. And they just feel like you interrupted them. Yeah. and I've seen myself do it where I'm just like get all this blah, 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 what I think, and then I like blah 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 blah, because we're in bed, but I'm still interrupting his brain in the space he was in. So unless yeah, 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 brain a time to transition. Yeah, it was what she said was when it's like working with children when you say, "Okay, in 5 minutes we're gonna do this." It's like, yeah, it's like that, like uh, the transition period where they can go, "Okay, yeah, I'm ready to talk about this," or "No, let's talk about this on Friday when we're at date night," or giving that time to actually prepare for that conversation, like whatever it is, so that they really can hold space to be really to hear you. Yeah, yeah, really. Mm. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Because women, I feel like women, like we can leapfrog communicate. Like we can be. I have a friend who we don't even. We're probably not even. Sometimes we're not even talking about the same thing, but we can follow each other. Because I can like she'll da 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 da, but I'm like over here doing my experience, and I may not even respond directly to what she said, but it's okay. I have that kind of friendship with her because we're both experiencing where we're at and allowing that for that, allowing for whatever connection you found in what I'm saying and whatever connection I found in what you're saying for me. But men are different. I've been in a group of men where and men don't interrupt each other. If you watch a group of men, one will talk at the time and they won't interrupt each other. Women do all the time. We do all the time. And we're okay with it. Yeah, we're okay with it. We don't get offended, but I've noticed that. And then, so I'll be in a group of men and there'll be one other woman and I'll be able to follow the conversation the men are having and we'll have a conversation at the same time and follow the men. It's fun. Have you noticed, been able to experience it that way? Not being okay with getting interrupted. Yes. A weaving of a conversation. I like that. They're not clear about what yeah, they don't have, they're not able to hold space for to be heard, for you to be heard and understood. Hmm. Yeah, and in that moment you can say, do you want to hear what I have to say? Because it's okay if you don't. Yeah, yeah, I don't feel heard. That's awesome. Because sometimes they don't realize they're doing it because you're not trying to attack them or make them feel bad. You're just trying to express your experience of how you're experiencing it. A conscious man that can hear you. Yeah. He had to be reminded to hear you. Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting but just being aware of what they need. because yeah, they don't have to get defensive. And sometimes there's leaders or men who, because all they want to do is fix it. All they want to do is fix it. And so their brain goes to fixing it because they love us and want to provide the answer and fix us. And sometimes we just need to be heard. So we ask for that space. I just need to be heard right now. Would you have space for me to just work out stuff? I'll say all the time, like after I blah, 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 I'll say, thank you so much for just letting me talk it out. Thanks for being my best friend. And then it's like and then I'm like speaking to what I need. It's been really fun. Steve will often say that I don't tell him anything. He has to just figure it out by being that observant. So some of the things he'll tell me I taught him, I don't even remember teaching it to him. I'm me doing my thing. Yeah, you're just doing you. When you're so solid in just doing you, I don't know, you just do you. And they are that observant, a lot of them, because they are so intrigued by us, and they're so, like, they just want to be around us. A man gets fed by a confident woman sitting in the room. And they've studied us, like that's all they want is to be around us. So it's really fascinating when you really can hold space for a man to talk, their deepest wisdom comes out. If you just hold space for them to listen. That's what I love. Like I constantly remind myself that just to like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's amazing because I want to go to like 4 levels deep because then I'm going to get the good stuff. I'm going to get really the good stuff. Otherwise, I'm just going to get the passing stuff. Because they are wise and they don't, like I said, everything they do is for a good reason, and everything they say is just what they say. There's no like hidden agenda behind it. They just are where they are. Yeah. And knowing that, because we like will say something but it means something else. We're saying 5 things behind it, and it's like a game to them to play. But men don't do that the same way. Like that, you really can know that whatever comes out of their mouth, they are saying. So for me, like I feel like I've worked on getting aligned with myself so that I trust my tree. And sometimes I just like, you'll hear me, I've heard myself saying, I'm just so excited to see what my tree says. Because when you get that aligned, you don't really question what you're saying. You just are where you are. So I love that about teaching because I'm trying to be open to the flow, whatever's in the room. So I'm grateful that you guys are here. Power for women, for sure. I know she's our yoga teacher here, and among other millions of things. I love that you introduced yourself so well. Okay, let me see what else we can share. Oh, this is some more of the ones that you might notice that one of the characters in the book noticed is like Jack checking me out as if I didn't notice. Lurch, horny, asshole. Can I say that? Not listening to or following her specific instructions, self-absorbed, arrogant. So those were the judgments after she like noticed that behavior. Like she made up what that meant. So, yeah. Her boss pushing month and result, selfish, short-sighted, inconsiderate. But really, he's just wanting those results. That's it. You know, just looking for what the good reason he did something was instead of just making a judgment about it. So, and I feel like you guys are both like really conscious women. A lot of us are trying to be conscious and not judge people because it's like a waste of our brain space. But in like committed relationships, that often comes out of us just because we're, and like when you get past the honeymoon phase or whatever it goes to, where you're like start judging them for different things, then it can come out like they always do something. The comparing to the perfect person thing. So let's see. Okay. Is it where they have room to grow? Finding where their room, when you see their room space for room for growth. Yeah. Yeah. Being helpful. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying because there is so much we see as women that we kind of see above the situation and they're just in it. A lot of times they can't see themselves a lot of times and we can't see ourselves. So having a person you really, really trust, and men do want our feedback. You just have to find the space. Like I said, you, because sometimes in that moment it won't be heard anyways. So finding those spaces to give that feedback and ask them, do you want my feedback? Feedback is a gift. And being really yourself, being so open to being receptive of their feedback and asking for it. Heck, I want to know. Like, what do you see that I need to grow? I mean, for me, for with Steve, it's his like just wanting to teach me that to see my greatness, to like remember who I am, and also what he wants for himself. So it shows me what is important to him, that him wanting that for me, and like we have different, like because we do have a commitment to each other to make each other look good. I want to make you look good, bro. I got your back kind of thing. And so because we have that understanding built into our relationship, like we have codes, like, like your zipper's down, you got something in your face. Our zipper down code is because, I don't want him to be like, I don't want to like, so it has to look down. I just want it to be like, like classy. So stuff like that. So it's more getting back in that space over and over where you're like, do you want my feedback? Because I'm like wondering why you do this, um, or I'm observing you doing this. Can you tell me why? Because this might be more helpful. Because if you have a best friendship and they respect you and trust you and you respect them and trust them, why wouldn't you have that kind of relationship where they want to know? And that level of friendship. You want to speak into the mic? Then I can get at you on here. Come through, just do your magic.
Okay, so what I'm just getting some clarity on is that like my biggest challenges in relationship is this feeling of when it's just me and God, like I feel really safe. I feel like really safe handling my life and my like emotionally safe and beyond safe, like blessed, right? Um, but then entering into relation with a man and like so it's like feeling less safe in ways to yeah, just that like I think that's what keeps coming up. I might feel more amazing in these other ways and really stoked and inspired and love and blessed and all, but like entering into experiences with them where I'm just like, I don't know if I like
can trust them and trust my energy, my life force, and like future with them. These are, it can be a vast level of like, why I wouldn't trust, or why a woman wouldn't trust a man. It's like how do you surrender and beyond that? I don't know. Mm. Yeah.
I guess, like, yeah.
Good. No, that's a really great question. Yeah. So the question, how do you trust safety is with a man? How do you get into a safety and surrender? I think just realigning with yourself, like over and over, and realizing they like it's
Manifesting now. If I feel safe with you as I do with you and I.
Yeah.
But then what if I'm like limiting my relation?
Yeah, you're hitting, I feel like you're hitting your edge with that, and like you to realign to how would it feel to feel safe? How would it feel to trust him? How would it feel like going to the like your root, like back into your root? Like you don't really have to trust him, you have to trust yourself.
Yeah, I keep trusting myself.
Over, but when you, but they are you. So he's you. I think it says oh shit somewhere in this. Actually, it's so funny that you said that because I was reading something and it said oh shit and I was like really? It just said that. What I feel like it is, I trust me. Like I trust my vibration.
I trust mine too.
So whatever you're reflecting onto him is you. So like what I'm serious, when you're in this conscious mindset of trusting yourself,
Yeah.
and that what you are attracting is going to show up in front of you. So it's all you. And I've never experienced so much like alignment with I do this thing where I start dating myself. We kind of have this flow where I like get my juices flowing and I dance and I get a massage and I do the things that make me happy, and then he's receptive to that because then he gets to come into my field where I'm just all, and then he gets to react to that. And I trust myself and my vibration, he's gonna feel that and he's gonna be in that. But when I put out the vibration of I don't know, then that's what I'm gonna experience. And I've never seen it quite the same as I have with Steve Lynn, or believed it because of what I attract. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Some level of like the sovereign soul. Yeah, another big deep piece.
It's deep.
It's so deep. Is it really a sovereign soul, or is it like really the Shiva to my soul? Are they sovereign? Are we sovereign, or are we like really? Is it really me? Or is it? Or is that just like?
I think it's both, and finding and balancing both. But when you trust yourself that that you know how to keep yourself so solid that you don't accept anything in your field that's not. Yeah. Yep.
Or something. I mean, in some ways, but like in other ways, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna have to like, if I witness things that I'm just don't enough or whatever that doesn't like hold my trust, even if there's a lot that does, but if there's like some patterns that are just like kind of not what I want to be seen or whatever, I just feel like I'm just kind of like
give it up, or
And
just let it just
let it, yeah. I think that when you say that too, it goes back to that you're making judgments about their behavior,
Yeah.
that you may not understand why they do it a certain way. And so being curious will probably help, just like being curious and wonderment about, oh, they're so fascinating. I wonder why they did it like that. I might judge it like this, but, and it's good to test men and how much you trust them. They like it. They do. They like that a goddess knows who they are, and that they will stand in their power and receive what is good for them, good for what feels good. I put up so many boundaries as far as like my house goes. Like I've kicked people out of my house. Told them they have to leave, or if someone is misbehaving and like maybe not be, yeah, in a standard that I'm comfortable with really anything, but especially language. When they're like being silly boys and they're like talking about their, you know how men do. They just kind of they just start talking about sex or something, yeah, or being silly like that with each other. I don't allow it in my space. I ask for a higher standard of communication.
I love it. I'm just coming from another queen code zone, and
Oh,
both are like touching on the same theme.
good.
She has a couple teenage boys, a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old. Her like kind of son, cousin son, and partner's son living with her, and she's like calling it with the porn, like
Oh,
telling them
yeah.
like no, like get it out of the field, and um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and the male, older the man, is like they're kids, it's kind of just like, but she is just like,
It's like,
no way,
no,
this
it's
is
a
wrong.
respect thing.
And that's the way that they want to live.
Yeah,
Or
go
they think,
somewhere else. Go in the garage. Go,
oh no,
go
she's like
do.
all the way off the property, if that's like what you guys
Wow.
are here.
Wow.
But that's the age that it's like,
Yeah.
that's like the boundary that is really holding the masculine to its most high
High
standard.
standard.
It is in service to all, really, truly.
And their focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you're saying the same thing.
Yeah, do you want, I want it to go on this microphone. You can be on the camera or just at least on the microphone. We'll pass this around. I'll cuddle up. I like this.
There we go. Wait, let me grab. I want warmth. Okay. So, regarding safety, I went through years of um, getting into relationships where I felt like that I was seeking safety from the men, right? And so, and when we broke up, my safety was taken away. And so I realized, and it's a little bit different, right? But what I realized was, wait a second, I don't feel safe within my own body, which is why I keep seeking it elsewhere, right? And so and so I did the typical stuff of making sure I had a house and finances like in set, all that stuff. And then it was like, oh wait, no, that's just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like superficial safety, right? Versus like internal safety, not superficial safety, but different. And so once I did like, all the personal work to really deeply find safety within, um, I don't, I, I don't seek that safety anymore from a partner. Like, I don't need it from, I appreciate it and I love feeling safe with another person. And yet, like people come up to me now and they're like, oh my gosh, I feel so safe with you, because it's something that I like have fully embodied and worked with.
This is somewhat of a 180 from what I'm saying.
Right.
Maybe
But I think the first thing that came to me when you were saying stuff was you were talking about your connection with God, right?
yeah, I
And
like feel really super safe and solid, like
right,
on my own, and then like
right,
sometimes I manifest. Man, and it's like now it's just like on the most subtle levels, and many times it's more subtle than for many women. I've never been
right.
like full on abusive, emotionally abusive, but not like physically. So, anyways, but then I'm like, oh, I'm like just so much safer and better,
Right.
without them when they leave. It's like, oh, phew,
Right.
I
Yeah.
manifest them. So I'm not like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like my safety is taken away. I feel like, okay, now I'm like,
Right.
good to yourself. Yeah. I get
Yeah.
to have this like unsafe
But
food in my field.
right, for sure. But the two things that came up for me was one is, are you relying on safety from God
Whoa.
instead of just within? Which is the same. It's the same, but as long as you relate it as same. Do you know what I mean? Versus an external source. Yeah. And then that was the first thing that like popped. And then the second thing is if, and we don't have to go into all that, but like if you continuously, your pattern is to have these men that you don't feel safe with, going back to what it is from childhood of not feeling safe with a male in your life, that type of thing. But yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I feel how does it feel safe? Like I have a song about I am safety, and every time someone's like, stay safe, I'm always like, I am safety. Like, yeah. I think it's the silliest phrase to me. Like, to tell me, like, what? No, I'm going to be dangerous, and maybe. Oh, okay. I mean, maybe I'm dangerous too, but yeah. So it's kind of just I feel safe and solid, but I just feel like I have really high standards. I mean, now at this point, like the past ones, it's just there's been more subtle levels of just like it's not like I'm not safe. Even I mean, even like my last one, but it's not like I'm not safe physically by any means or taking care, like supported. Like there's many levels of like great safety and support being reflected, but I guess I'm judging these other levels that are, but maybe they're just not safe for me too. I don't know, like, yeah, more, I feel like, again, you create your experience. Yeah. And so allowing just let them be who they are, even if you don't understand it, if they're allowed in your space because you're receptive to them holding this or supporting your safety or helping provide your safety, then that's cool too. But if they don't, then they can't. Cool. Okay. So allowing, like, when you are safe within yourself, like saying it will show up. Yeah. The right reflection of that will show up. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Beautiful. Yeah, I feel like it's where I'm at is like such an evolution from like women that are in, deeply abusive relationships, but it like that the theme is like it's just gonna keep evolving to like get in more, subtle ways, but it's still like the core energetic of it is still the same that I'm just realizing. Yeah. And women are sometimes just little boys who want to be loved. Oh well, yeah. That's trying to like, obvious. To provide what they think a woman needs, in their natural. Like it was shamed so bad. Now they, or whatever their hurt little boy is. They're not, maybe know what safety inside themselves is either. Yeah. If they have hurt too, but it to have these tools that really, like, it's almost like
the way I understand these tools too, and throw them in with like Abraham Hicks and manifestation, and then just combine them together with unconditional love intentions, it's so much easier because we don't really have to waste our time like judging their actions, or we're looking for being curious about their actions and wonderment about their actions instead of like making anyone wrong.
But if we're judging them, aren't we just judging ourselves?
Yep.
So it's like figuring out why we're judging ourselves.
Yep. Oh, I have a tool about that. So one of the things that I do is I write a
judging is like just I guess just discerning.
just discerning. I think that
I love the word.
I know.
It's so good. Like we're
No,
judging
it's
and
so
judging,
good.
we're judging and judging, but you
Yeah,
know, what is the
but
actually
until you
there's a
get to
level
the
of it, like
yeah,
more
being
discerning.
curious about
Yeah.
what your discernment is. Too.
Yeah.
No, I love that. One of the tools I use is I'm a letter writer, and so sometimes I'll like when I'm like blah 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 blah, I'll write letters to like Steve or whoever it is that I'm like having this mental conversation with that's like bothering me, and I'll type out this long letter. I won't send it all, but I won't send it. But then I like read it backwards. Like I'll read it like instead of like I feel da 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 da, then I'll read or you did da 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 da. Then I'll read it backwards like I'll change it to I and you and read out loud backwards. So instead of it said you, I'm reading I.
Oh,
Because I'm projecting, and so now I'm reading it as if I wrote it to myself.
that's fascinating.
It's really deep, and it's words, and then I usually just delete it, or I'll just give him gratitude for the good things that I did find out about what he is amazing, and that's also a projection. That I want to project like how much grateful I am that I learned da 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 from you acting, from your behavior. Thank you for showing me. So I usually just switch it to writing what I do want. It's like, thank you for da 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 da, and I just want to bring that more out of it.
It's so sad. Because the script today I was witnessing a sister having an experience of like being uncomfortable, not feeling safe, like this heavy energy around kind of feeling, and like so either it's like the projection, it's like no, it's not mine. I was like, but it's all your projection. It's all my projection. So when it is what you just said, it's like, what do you want to project? Like focusing on what you want to project. And not ignoring what happens to be projected as well, right?
Yeah, we're not ignoring it. We're just finding the right space. We're just waiting for the right space to be heard until for them to be in a receptive mode to receive that feedback. Because they do want to be tested. They do want our knowledge. They do want our wisdom. But it has to be when they're ready to receive it. But sometimes they're not.
What were other ways that you tested? Did you mention that?
I was sharing that sometimes Steve would ask me to go to dinner, but I would be hanging out with other guys, and I would just say, "Oh, I'm hanging out with so and so, but we can come." So I would make him pay for dinners to the other dudes too.
I don't even know.
Well, for one thing, I really
The other example.
okay,
Not my thing either, but
a lot of it was really conscious. So when I talk about letter writing, it was really, really conscious about what I was writing, because when I'm writing to him, I'm telling him what I like about him, and just like pointing it out all the time, or speaking forward to how I would do it, or well, if I ever had or to use phrases like if I did it all my way, I'm trying to think. I mean, I have to show you my house. It's like a witness of the tools and stuff. How do I test them? One time we were sitting with one of the other guy friends at a thing, and we were having this bantering thing back and forth and a conversation with him at the same time. And he was like, sometimes a man doesn't know when to make a romantic gesture. And I said something like, well, a goddess will tell you when she wants one. because I was not ready for him to like be flirty with me or he could, I just was very much testing whether he could respect my words, respect my boundaries, respect who I believe that I know I'm a goddess and I deserve to be respected. And the door opening thing was a big one to establish in our relationship, but I I know why that feels good to me. So with trusting him in that way of it feels really good when I get my door open. And I sometimes I'd sit in the car for 15 minutes and just think, if he wanted me in the room, I would be in the room.
You have him come to your side to open the door?
Absolutely. A lot.
So would he go inside and would come in and he would have to like sit there and
Yes.
figure out like why you hadn't come in?
Yes.
Wow.
Because it was in my marriage I didn't have that and it was something I really wanted and then I would think about it, why is this important to me? And he introduced me last week and he talked about that he loves that I do that because it's a respect thing and for me it was like every time he did it I got to feel respected and I got to trust him to want to take care of me. And so it's an action that over and over again gets instilled in his body and his behaviors that I respect this woman and I trust him that he wants to take care of me. So I still, it's it's like the little things that implant those behaviors. And so over and over again, when it would kind of like get sloppy or he gets sloppy about it or whatever, then I would tell him why I would take a moment when we did have a date or we did have that space to tell him why it was important to me and why I believe that it mattered.
I'm just making sure he would get out of his side and then come around to your side and open up the door for you.
Yes.
Okay.
I hold my hand and help me out of the car and give me a kiss and I say thank you and I do the date thing every time. And then there are some days when he'll like open that way, but most of the time it's just telling him and not doing it myself, especially when you're really trying to establish that why it's so important to you.
So why is it so important?
Because I want him to have a queen.
Yeah.
Because I believe he deserves one. I want to be the woman I believe he should have. I want to, so to me, I'm going, please make me your dream woman. Please create me in a way that I get to act out being your dream woman. So we have this promise to each other to continue to pretend we're the ideal person, pretend that I'm your ideal man. Because if I don't project that onto him, he can't act it out. I've had relationships where they were seeing me as like a situation where they were projecting that I was their ex-wife cheating on them. And I could not, they're traumas, and I couldn't act, and it wouldn't matter what I did or what I said, they were still going to project that onto me. And so I had to leave because that's not what was going on, but I was still playing it out for him.
So instead project that I'm your dream.
I'm your dream woman and please let me be your dream woman. And in return, he's like, please let me be your dream man. Please project that onto me so I can act it out. Because I want to be what I believe Steve Lund needs to be his woman. What he believes, you know what I mean? And if you respect them that much, why wouldn't you want to be who you? Would you please let me be your woman? Please let me be your dream woman. Please keep pretending that I am so that I can act out. So it's been that conscious, like, and it's just kind of unfolded in front of me as I keep practicing the tools I believe in. Yeah, I know. Any closing? That feels like a good closing remark. Sleep on that. No, sleep on that. Yeah, I did a study too called Ideal Life Vision, where you're writing your new script of who you want to be, who you are, first person, present tense, and story form, and you write it in 5 sections, and so you're training your brain to like over and over. And that's why I write a lot, because I'm creating him. Like when I write to him, I'm creating the man that he gets to act out.
I feel like I've been attempting to do that. I haven't been like receiving that reflection that I might do. This or that, that and just not really getting that reflection back to the degree that like is inspiring. I mean, there are levels of it, that, like in some levels, that like inspiring relationship and yeah. It's, I don't know. I think I'm like at the point where most recent beloved, where it's just like really having to let go of the not having to, but like allowing myself to let go of the um, imagining them as my perfect man or desiring to be
him to reflect in that human,
yeah
your ideal man to reflect in that human.
yeah because I'm just like haven't been getting levels of that are really necessary for me and
What
kind
your
of
ideal
relationship.
vision of a man is.
Yeah. So it's like can't like
Yeah.
so there's part of me is just like why am I not manifesting that? Like I thought it like and wanting to almost like shame myself for
wrong question.
wrong question. Right. Like, why am I manifesting this? Yeah.
But I still to have my ideal vision, how
Yeah.
there's the
And
question,
I'm
how does
feeling
it
to
feel to
that.
be in your
But
divine relationship?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess like if you're not seeing that show up, like I said, in the
Your brain is like a computer. You ask if you Google the question, it will show you proof of it. So your question you just said was, how come I'm not receiving that? Well, I'm going to find all the reasons in my whole background and my whole past of why that's not true. And then I'm going to project it into the future of why now I'm going to find all the ways in my future that I'm projecting that I don't manifest that. So, yeah. Okay. So if you're asking the questions in the future, like so that your frequency stay in line with what you want, how does it feel? Yeah, how does it feel that I have that person in my life? Pretend they're there.
Relationship. Youth divine relationship. Okay.
Yeah, over and over. Or line and align, realign with yourself. I still get so amazed as I just keep telling my stories because this really is my greatest work is to keep projecting honesty of my ideal man. So I'm not, there's days when I slip up and I have to go do yoga or I have to go do some meditation and go take a nap and remember again why I gotta keep pretending he's my ideal man. Yeah, we're recording. I don't know, it's still flowing. I don't know what time it is, but yeah. Good. Any final remarks from anyone? Just keep pretending just live as though he's already there. The vibration of your ideal partner.
It's interesting the word
not projecting it into a specific person.
Yeah.
Versus
not
projecting it.
Not a certain person, just the feeling of that person.
Pretending versus envisioning, because envisioning isn't feeling.
Yeah, it needs to have an emotion. And imagining is acting. Steve Word. Yeah. Steve would always say that to me. Will you just pretend I'm your ideal man? Please just pretend I'm your ideal man. Yeah. I know I'm not him, but you can just keep pretending. And so it did something to my brain where I was like, okay, I'm going to keep going deeper with even believing that you could be my ideal man. Because my past wouldn't allow me to do that, but my future, I can choose that. And if he wants to, I was stuck on it too, but you're
What do kids do? Is that it? They pretend. They imagine that they embody. What's another word? Like embody. I don't know.
Act like.
Yeah. I think acting feels better than pretend.
Yeah. Feel.
Yeah.
But also feel and act.
Yeah.
Act like
Yeah.
they're already there.
Yeah.
Or I think one time I manifested a house. I manifested a house once. I was living in my old one, and so when I was doing certain things in my old house, I would like be going, oh, if I was in that new house, I wouldn't have to, because in my old house I had lived in the basement and my bathroom down there wasn't finished, so I'd have to go upstairs, take a shower, go downstairs and get dressed, go upstairs to put my makeup on, and it was just, and so when I was doing it, wanting to buy the new house in my brain, I would go. For your current situation. Let's go upstairs. Yes, that was in my past life. But in the new house, it was like there's the double shower, there's the bathtub, there's this, and I'd be like living in my head like if I was in the new house.
Oh, okay.
And I like manifested closing that house in 3 months instead of they told me it would take 6 because it was a short sale. But I was like living in it in my head. This was my house. If I was in my other shower, it would look like this, and I'd just be like in my other shower.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
That's my imagination.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be using
So
that.
I'm pretending that I'm in my other house. Pretending ideal relationship.
Maybe I'm in my ideal bathroom
Every day. Ideal bathroom every day.
Every day.
As I walk up and down the stairs instead of just because this house had like a full-on walk-in closet and the bathtub was in the corner, a double shower, and I was pretending that I lived in it before I did.
Okay.
So there you go.
Pretending.
Yes. So thanks, ladies, thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you next week.